Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring. Welcome back to Austria for round 5, part 2 of the ADAC GT4 Germany. Here, we're up in the clouds once again in the Styrian Mountains, just outside of Spielberg. We're about 75 kilometers northwest of Graz and about 200 kilometers southwest of Vienna. The conditions are very, very changeable here as we get ready for the second race of the weekend for the ADAC GT4 Germany. Air temperature 14.8 degrees centigrade. If you are a regular follower of ADAC GT4 Germany, you'll know that normally we're always as part of the DTM package, part of the weekend, but we're normally about last thing of the day. We normally have our races just as the light is fading in the evening, so this is something a bit different. It's mid-morning here in Austria and we are getting ready to get going, but conditions are a lot cooler than maybe what we've had earlier on during the season. The cars are on the grid. Yesterday evening we had the first of the 2 races this weekend, and we saw yesterday Philipp Gogelock and Hendrik Still taking a win. They came through to take the win during the race. They got to the front and they beat their fellow Avia WS teammates in the Porsche, Tommy Gore and Alain Gabet. They were second. It was their second podium of the season, but it's the first time they'd actually been able to stand on that podium because they'd inherited their previous podium as 3rd place, and that was as a result of a disqualification for another car, and that was back at the Sachsenring. In 3rd place yesterday was the car that started on pole position, Jan-Philipp Springhob and Storm Jerdrum. Storm taking his first ever podium, a really mature drive, showing that he is an absolute up-and-coming superstar in the world of GT racing. Championship leaders, though, Enrico Förderer and J-Mo Hertling. A pretty solid day yesterday, 8th place, a good points haul, but today they are in a much better position. They are starting from pole position with J-Mo Hertling at the wheel. They are 9 points clear of Gabriele Payana and Berke Besler. They finished just ahead of them yesterday in 7th place. So, point standings, it's 145 to Enrico Förderer, J-Mo Hertling. Gabriele Payana, Berke Besler with 136, just 9 points back. They've closed that massive gap up Enrico Förderer, J-Mo Hertling had earlier on in the season as a result of 4 wins on the trot. But moving up into 3rd in the points now, Philipp Gogelock and Hendrik Still, 29 points back. So there are still 75 points on the table in ADAC GT4. Do apologise, some audio issues here in our commentary box. I've got myself a new microphone, so we are getting ready. So I was telling you about the points standings. So yes, Gogelock and Hendrik Still moving up to 3rd, 29 points back. In 4th, good result yesterday for Rafael Rennhofer and Emil Heyerdahl. They move up to 4th place, 112 points, just 33 points adrift. So, we are getting ready for a race. It's been declared a wet race. A big crowd here, enjoying all the hospitality on offer at the Red Bull Ring. And we are getting ready to go. It's going to be 2 formation laps because the conditions have been a bit changeable. We've had some rain overnight. The track is very greasy. We've had DTM qualifying this morning, but there's still a lot of wet patches off the racing line. So we are going to take it nice and easy at the start. We haven't got last year's GT4 race in the back of our minds, which was fairly lively to say the least. So the race director is very wisely giving the cars 2 formation laps. It means that the first lap will be as per normal. The second one, the clock will start to tick down. So the hour plus 1 lap of racing will start to commence when the cars start on their second formation lap. So we are rolling here. It is quite unusual having a GT GT4 race in the morning, but really good, something a little bit different. It is race 10 of a 12-race season, so after today, after this race, there are only 2 races left this year to decide the championship, and it really could go in either direction. So the cars now starting on their formation lap here at the Red Bull Ring, a track that is 4.318 kilometers around with 10 turns, 7 to the right and 3 to the left. It's a wonderful circuit, high up in the Styrian Mountains, about 677 meters above sea level. Lots of overtaking opportunities, as we just confirmed. J-Mo Hurtling on that pole position. Alon Gabe alongside the driver from Israel who shares with Jamaican Tommy Gore. Keep an eye on them. Joel Mesh, teammate to the pole sitter, starts behind Oscar Lind Christensen alongside Marek Buchmann and Raphael Renhofer enjoying his home race on row 3. Row 4, Storm Yerdrum, keep an eye on him, and Roman Felderfeldeg. And then on row 5, Luciana Schneider has Philip Gogelog, yesterday's winner, alongside Andreas Jochimsen. Second in the championship, Gabriella Piana alongside him with Denny Burns and Linus Harner a long way back. They had a rubbish day yesterday, want to come back from that. Benjamin Sylvesterson, Tim Reiter on row 8. On row 9, Oscar Dix and Julia Potelo. And then on row 10, Lawrence Hull and Daniel Drexel start alongside each other. They're bringing up the rear of the grid is Axel Bengston and Luca Link. Keep an eye on Luca as well. He's a real entertainer in GT4 Germany, and he will be wanting to push his way forwards from what was a poor qualifying position. So, cars up at turn 9 at the moment on the first of the 2 formation laps. The weaving to generate the heat into the tyres and into the brakes to make sure that when they do get it up to racing speed, they'll have grip and the ability to stop the cars into the corners. The best overtaking opportunity here is into turn 3. So the cars come out of turn 1, which is where they're heading towards now, which is a right-hander, and then it is full tilt around turn 2, which is but a kink in the track, and then up a really steep hill into turn 3, and it is a steep climb, and it's a heavy braking zone. The right turner of turn 3, which is known as Remus Corner. We don't often call it that. So that corner is the scene of much controversy. It's one where we did see a car going over last year. We won't dwell on that too much. Then out of turn 3, the right-hander, another stretch down towards turn 4, slightly downhill, another overtaking opportunity. And the other of it, that is looking down from turn 3. You can see that turn 2, the slight kink there. And they don't lift off for that, let me tell you that. The other overtaking opportunity out of turn 10, in towards turn 1, past the pits. But this is where a lot of the action happens. And we often see drivers overshooting onto the red and white runoff area. Race directors this year have been very, very strict with it. Drivers who exceed track limits, you can potentially get away with it on the first lap of the race when there is a gaggle of cars running 3 and 4 abreast. But after that, the race directors are going to step in if track limits are exceeded. And it's good to see. Also, you can see how low the cloud is. We think we're going to get through this race without any rain. There is certainly rain forecast for later today, just in time for the DTM race, I expect. But we're hoping that we're going to be able to get this one done and dusted in the dry. So now up to turn 8. The cars are gridding up side by side. It's championship leader J-Mo Hurtling on pole position. Alon Gabe in the very rapid Avia WNS Porsche on the outside front row. Joel Mesh and Oscar Christensen, and the 31 car has been very quick all weekend, in fact all season long. Oscar Christensen and Lachlan Robinson for Avia WNS Motorsport as well, and they will be competitive from there. Keeping an eye on Raphael Renhofer, Marek Buchmann on row 3. These are all drivers that are very capable of leading this race, and then of course there's Storm Yerdrum and Roman Felderfeldeg just behind as well. This is going to be a real thriller. It is race 10 of a 12-race season. Are you ready to get going? We are about to go racing ADAC GT4 Germany, and the lights go green. Car, that's a Piana, just turned a wheel onto the grass along the pit straight, but Hartling leading very much into turn 1. Right, car 10 under investigation. The car on jacks after 3-minute board. So there may well be some issues incoming for the number 10 car of Denny Byrne. Out of turn 1 we come, on board with local hero Rafael Renhofer. Just in front, Alain Gabet under pressure from Oscar Christensen. Piana, after that wild start on the pit straight, going very deep into the corner, but he's made up a load of places. So Gabriele Piana up into 5th, 6th place, running side by side out towards turn 4. He's alongside Storm Yerdrum. We know that Yerdrum is a respecter of nobody, so he might want to just get past that Aston Martin. He does that. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place, and there's a car spinning. That's Mesh. So Joel Mesh has got turned around. Also in there, Marit Bergman as well. So the drama has started. There's debris everywhere. This is almost certainly going to bring out, at the very least, a safety car. But that's a real shame. Here comes the safety car for Marit Bergman. And that is Roman Velder-Feldegg exploring the scenery as well. And also Linus Hahner. Their rubbish weekend is getting worse. So Linus Hahner, well, he hadn't had any damage by the looks of things, so he's able to rejoin at the back of the queue. So those two cars have gone off onto the grass. Marit Bergman trying to get the Pro Sport Aston Martin back to the pits, but clearly that car is going to go no further this weekend. You can see that the left rear is pointing in entirely the wrong direction. The car crabbing out as it heads towards turn 6. So that's done a lot of damage. I think all 4 corners of that car have taken a bit of a hit. So that is going to be game over for car 17. Before the race has really got underway, and it's often what you see, the scramble for places on the opening lap of a race. At the moment, at the front, everybody's got away scot-free. The real winner out of that, Gabriele Piana, up to 5th place. He started 12th, so he's made 7 places on the opening lap. Right, let's have a look here. Further back through the pack, and it looked like Bergman, who got into the back of Mesh. Mesh had a very poor start to drop back into the pack. That was Roman Velder-Feldegg, I think, was just avoiding action, as was Linus Hahner. But it just looked like Marit Bergman maybe missing a braking point, locking up. Maybe he'd had a helping hand as well, but certainly made contact with Joel Mesh into the corner, turned him around, and also in there as well, yesterday's winner. So Philip Gogolok getting a fair thump as part of that as well. So a lot of damage. I think there's quite a few other cars with damage. Luca Link, well, that's one of the advantages of starting at the back. You just let them all sort it all out, and then you come sailing through. So there's a replay of the start, and you can see Piana had a wheel on the grass, and then a very wide line up into turn 1 as well. Taking that avoiding action. Right, safety car is in on this lap. 10 out of 10 for our track staff, who cleaned the thing up very, very quickly. As we look again at some replays of turn 1, Storm Yerdrum had given Joel Mesh a little bit of a punt there as well. It hadn't been the best of starts for Mesh, but he was falling back through the pack, soon to be collected by Marit Bergman. And Gabriele Piana is under investigation for exceeding track limits and gaining an advantage on turn 1. So that rapid start may have been a bit too rapid. Storm Yerdrum peeling off into the pit, so clearly there's some issues with that car as well. High drama here in ADAC GT4 Germany as we get back racing. We've only had 6.5 minutes of this race, and a load of that has been behind the safety car, but hey, we're still going now. So 53 minutes and 20 seconds. So let's have a look, and oh, that looks like a fairly terminal problem for Storm Yerdrum, and the car smoking in the pits. They're scrambling for positions further back. It's a sense of deja vu from last year's GT4 race here. Right, look at this. Oscar Christensen challenging up the hill to the inside. Championship leader, Jamo Hurtling. Hurtling cannot afford a non-finish, so needs to tread very carefully. Try telling a driver to tread carefully when you're fighting for the lead. But at the moment, your new race leader is Oscar Christensen. Alain Gabet looking racy behind Rafael Renhofer. Gabriele Piana as well under investigation. Gogolok had that big thump in that accident, but he's up to 6th place, so looks as though everything's pointing in the right direction there at the moment. Benjamin Silvesterson, solid run from him at the moment. Andreas Jochimsen in there. So the cars now sorting themselves out. Certainly a few less cars running. And the incident in turn 4 that we saw with Marit Bookman and Joel Mesh, the stewards have had a look at it and decided it was a racing incident. So no further action. Everybody carries on. So the only investigation we've got currently ongoing is the one involving Gabriele Piana, second in the championship. Piana needs to put that to the back of his mind and set about challenging Rafael Renhofer. Easier said than done. He's very quick. I think that was the number 10 car, I believe, that was going very wide. Then he burnt out of the corner. The ADAC cars all look the same, don't they? Right, out along the pit straight we come, up towards turn 1 once again. So good job from Oscar Christensen, and leading the way. Still scrambling for positions further back, and certainly looking pretty terminal for the cozy racing by ESM Aston Martin. There's Storm Yerdrum shrugging the shoulders. This time last week he was racing in GT Masters. Right, challenge for second place. That's Alain Gabet. Jamo Hertling clearly doesn't have the pace to match the Porsches at the moment, because Rafael Renhofer also queuing up to get involved. So the car that started on pole position now just about shuffled down to third place, and a penalty lap has been awarded to Gabriele Piana for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So fifth place, Gabriele Piana is going to have to slow down and drive through the penalty box at no more than 50 kilometers an hour for one lap. That's going to shuffle him down probably 3 or 4 places at the very least. So bad news for car 21. He can't wait for it all to be spaced out. He can only cross the start-finish line one time before he has to go through to the penalty box. So bad news for second in the championship. Good news for Oscar Christensen as he leads the way, and good news for Alain Gabet as he goes into second. Rafael Renhofer up into third. In fact, Piana's also got past the pole-sitting car. So Jamo Hertling has lost a whole load of places in the last lap alone. So clearly not enjoying the pace, having to think of the bigger picture as the cars head out along the pit straight once again. Oscar Christensen leading the way, looking for his first ever win, along with Lachlan Robinson in ADAC GT4 Germany, but still a very long way to go. Just under 50 minutes plus 1 lap remaining of this race. We look down from turn 3. You can see the gap that Christensen has over Gabet. So about 1.1 when they cross the line. The Porsche 1, 2 and 3. 2 of them ADAC Motorsport, 1 of them is a Wimmer Werk Motorsport. So looking again at that moment that Jamo Hertling got shuffled down through the pack. Hertling along with Enrico Ferderer with everything to lose in this championship. They did have a massive lead in the championship earlier in the season, and I think a fairly torrid time at the Sachsenring last time out saw that massive lead eaten away to almost nothing. They've opened it up again a bit yesterday, but it's only 9 points. So they'll be quite happy that Piana has had his fair share of problems. He's still in 4th place at the moment. So now I'm looking, and he has now, I believe, yes, he has taken his penalty lap. So he's dropped a long way back through the pack mid-order. So Piana's going to have to do all that work again, having taken his penalty lap down to 11th place for the BMW. So after such a promising start, he's only 1 place ahead of where he started. And there go the marker bollards. Now nobody knows where the markers are. It was Daniel Drexel will send the invoice to for those. He sends them off between turns 9 and 10, and they will hopefully be out of harm's way. Right, here we go. First, second, third, fourth. Now Hertling just trying to come back at Rafael Renhofer. The Porsches really are very quick around here. Behind Hertling is Philip Gogolok, yesterday's winner. He has a bit of success ballast on board as well, an extra 15 kilos. And that is a result of winning yesterday. They reckon 10 kilos adds about 1/10 of a second to the lap time. So Gogolok is going to have a little bit of a pace disadvantage to the other Porsches. He also had that contact in the melee earlier on in the race, so hopefully no damage from that as well. But doing a solid job in 5th place and putting the pressure onto the championship leader. Well, trying to wind in the championship leader. Piana down in 11th with all the hard work to do again. We're riding on board with the championship leader, J-Mo Hurtling, the SI Motorsport by Schnitzeland Mercedes. Now this is going to be Piana. Look how many places go past. 50 kilometers an hour, that's the box. It's about 50 meters long, and it's the equivalent to adding about 5 seconds onto a lap time. Wouldn't be a problem if we had been racing for a long period of time, but because we'd just been behind a safety car, everybody was bunched up, so a whole stream of cars came through, and Piana is shuffled to mid-pack to 11th place, which is something of a disaster, because you have to do all that hard work. And look at how wide a line they're taking into turn one, especially J-Mo Hurtling, flashing the lights. Here's one of the cars that we saw disappearing off into the scenery early on, Roman Feldeg, in 17th place at the moment, trying to fight his way back. Linus Harner is into the points, 14th place. Harner, along with Tommy Rackle, just about in the championship hunt coming into this race. They were 56 points back in 6th place, so still in the championship hunt. Right, car 10, a penalty lap one time. The car was on the jacks after the 3-minute board. That's a health and safety issue. So Denny Burns in 8th place is going to have to emulate Gabriella Piana and pass through the penalty box. So the challenge for 3rd place is on. There, J-Mo Hurtling closed in on Rafa Renhofer. So having been shuffled down the order, maybe the Mercedes just looking like is starting to come on a bit as the race has progressed. And the 91 car, the sister car of Rafa Renhofer, Oscar Dix in 12th place. He's had a track limits warning. There are a lot of drivers who have had track limit warnings, but none of the ones at the front that I can see. But track limits, always an issue here at the Red Bull Ring. Now that the bollards are gone, nobody knows where the track limits are. Well, keep it on the grey stuff, that's what I say. J-Mo Hurtling out of turn 10, hurtling along past the pits. Now tracking down Rafa Renhofer, picking up a slipstream up quite a steep hill, that is, into turn 1, the right-hander. Renhofer hasn't covered off at the moment, but how vulnerable will he be now out of turn 1? Towards turn 2, he will come. There's the 66 car that we're looking at, Tim Reiter, with the door open, not allowed to get out of the car there. Oh dear, he's been in the wars. The wing mirrors hanging off as well. Looks like I've been driving it. Look at the dent in the rear quarter. So Tim Reiter's car, he's running in stone last, 19th place, a lap down at the moment. But if that door remains hanging loose, then he is going to have to come into the pits. If he doesn't choose to do so, the race stewards may well force the issue and show him the black and orange flag. I think Gogolok's got bits trailing off the car as well. Teams have got a bit of work to do rebuilding this lot after this race, haven't they? Right, Feldeg making a challenge inside of Denny Burns. That'll be for 13th place, so he's made that stick. Now, Gabriella Piana has dropped back to 16th place. So what is going on there? Having made that monumental start, challenging the front runners, and now running 2 places from last. So Piana, second in the championship, 9 points back from Enrico Federer and J-Mo Hurtling, in all sorts of trouble. And Gogolok's car looks like bits are falling apart with every lap. That's a headlight that's hanging on by the wire, I would say. Again, the race stewards might decide to give a black and orange flag. Well, they've done that now. The meatball flag has been shown to Tim Reiter on account of the fact the driver's door is hanging off. There goes the headlight. That's probably good news for Philip Gogolok. Anyone want a Porsche Cayman headlight? There's one on the pit straight at the Red Bull Ring. But because that is no longer trailing, the car may now not be considered to be a hazard. Does he wipe on the bollard? It's taken out the bollard and the headlight in one fell swoop. Got there in the end. Out of turn 10 onto the pit straight. What a random kind of bit of drama that is. There goes the headlight. Fortunately, nobody has gone over the top of that, so it may be usable for another day. Who knows? Aerodynamically is not going to help that car. Andreas Jochimsen is behind in the 22 car, and Jochimsen, along with Niels Troger, have been looking very quick this season and challenging yesterday's winner, Philip Gogolok. Right, More dramas further back. How's Luca Link doing? We said keep an eye on him. He's up to 8th place. So Luca Link from the very back up to 8th place, keeping out of trouble, keeping out of the drama, just getting on with it. We're looking at Axel Bengston, Lawrence Rule behind him. So Piana's made it up to 16th, but still not in the points at the moment. So what a torrid day for Gabriele Piana after such a promising start. Also, I'm going to shout out Julia Potolo in 12th place, because he, along with Alex Connor and Luca Bosco this year, have been struggling enormously with car issues. So he's into the points, so that is good news. There's a car peeling off into the pits. I think that'll be Reiter, who's had the black and orange flag that has been shown. So there'll be tie wraps, gaffer tape applied to the car, or it may well be that any motorsport decide to park it up and try again at Hockenheim next time out. Meanwhile, Gogolok doing quite well considering half the car's missing. In position there, 5th place, Andres Jochimsen, also there, Benjamin Silvesterson. There's what remains of Tim Reiter's car, and that looks like a retirement to me. There's certainly no work being done on the car, looking distinctly second-hand as a result of that drama at the start of the race. The sister car with Linus Hane at the wheel in 11th place has been given a track limit warning. So we look down at our race leader. Right, we haven't even talked about pit stops yet. In 6 minutes' time, the pit window will open. It will open for 10 minutes. So there's a car going in entirely the wrong direction. That's a Luca Link, who's had a bit of a moment into turn 4. Regathered it all up, but has lost position there. And now back behind Benjamin Silvesterson. So was that Luca Link, or was that the, maybe Jochimsen? Blue and white BMWs in the front and in the back. In the middle of them is a red, black and white, red, blue and white BMW with Benjamin Silvesterson at the wheel. Right, so as we look at the very dented panels of the ME Motorsport BMW, the pit window, there's Tim Reiter. I think the body language says it all there. Walking back to the pits. There is Philip Viskersen, who won't be getting an opportunity to sit in that car this afternoon. Pit window will open, remain open 10 minutes. During that 10 minutes, every car will need to come in for a mandatory stop and driver change. Minimum pit stop time, 95 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. They must not go below that. This is not a performance pit stop, and everybody is going to have to consider that. The teams will be considering when to bring their driver in, whether to bring them in early or late within the pit window. All about the strategy, all about gaining track position and maximising the driver who is fastest. At the moment, Gogolok in 5th place, clinging on for all he's worth. That win yesterday that moved him up to 3rd place, so just 29 points behind J-Mo Hertling. Unfortunately, Hertling is ahead of him on the track at the moment. So if things remain as they are now, Furter and Hertling will extend their lead at the top of the point standings, because Piana is a long way back, Gogolok is behind them. Raphael Renhofer in 4th place is ahead, so we'll close in slightly on the 2 cars in front, but not enough to make much of a dent in the lead of Enrico Furter and J-Mo Hertling. After today, there are just 50 points remaining on the table, 25 for a race win, 20 for 2nd place, as we look at Gogolok trying to make that car as wide as possible. Jochimsen in 6th place, ducks to the inside, and I think Philip Gogolok very wisely decides not to put up too much of a defence. You just need to know that it's going to happen, and it's best to let it happen without actually incurring any damage or spearing off into the gravel trap or anything like that. Following through, Benjamin Silvesterson as well in the number 23 FK Performance Motorsport BMW. Loitering in the background is Luca Link. So bit depressing for Philip Gogolok, because he's seeing a whole raft of BMWs trying to come through, but he's not giving up, is he? Up towards turn 3. What was that I said about making it easy? He goes to the outside, last of the late breakers, up the hill into the right-hander, and he's fighting back, isn't he? So Benjamin Silvesterson not having it all easy into the controversial turn 4, tricky corner. So is Gogolok going to try the late braking? Is he going to try and cut back to the inside? Looks like he's going to keep it to the outside at the moment. Sylvesterson has it covered off. In the background, Luca Link sees an opportunity, tries to duck to the inside as well, but Gogolok has that covered. So this is the battle for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, all running nose to tail. Also rushing to join is Luciana Schneider in the 32 car, the ADAC MX Motorsport Porsche. So that battle is now involving 5 cars. Behind them, Oscar Dix in 10th place. So he's looking pretty solid there in the number 91 car. And if things finish as they are now, we'll be looking for his best result in ADAC GT4 Germany. As now Luca Link is the next to have a pop at Philip Gogolok. To the inside he goes, gives him the squeeze, past what remains of the corner markers. Schneider in there as well. So Gogolok getting shuffled down the order with every lap. You just know that that Porsche is not going well. I think it's apart from the success ballast, has also got damage. Schneider fancied having a go at the BMW. Gogolok trying to come back at both of them. Never say die, that's what we say here, flat out. So Schneider in the sister car to Philip Gogolok. No love lost there because Gogolok works his way past up the hill. Schneider's going to have to do it all again. Into the right-hander of turn 3 they come once again. The uphill section, and then it's downhill towards turn 4. Here we go. Quite a tricky corner to get right. We see so many drivers spearing off into the gravel. So there is 7th place, Luca Link. Under control. Benjamin Sylvesterson, Andreas Jochimsen as there as well. Philip Gogolok in the 8th place. Luciana Schneider in 9th. Oscar Dix rounding out the top 10. Linus Harner has come back into 11th. Julien Potelot in 12th. Denny Berndt in 13th. Roman Feldegg in 14th. Gabriele Piana in 15th place. So he's got a solitary point at the moment. He's not going to have too long. The most he can take now out of this race will be 10 3/4 minutes because he's going to have to hand over to Berke Besler before the pit window closes. The 10-minute window will open in a little over 30 seconds. I think that Piana's going to try and stay out late in the window, try and gain some track position here before handing that BMW over to Berke Besler. That's my prediction, normally wrong. As we look at the pit straight, out of turn 10 they come, up the hill towards turn 1 once again. Christensen, meanwhile, getting on with it. 3 seconds clear of Alain Gabet. Yesterday's podium finishers. Alain Gabet, along with Tommy Gore. Great job yesterday, and it was a 5th place for Oscar Christensen and Lachlan Robinson yesterday, as it's BMW versus BMW. Benjamin Sylvesterson and Andreas Jochimsen. So Sylvesterson to the inside of the sister car. Both of those cars are FK Performance Motorsport. Does not help that they're the same colour scheme as the Razzoon More Than Racing BMWs, but that's another story. So Sylvesterson moves up into 5th place, having made it past Andreas Jochimsen. Good, solid stuff from Sylvesterson, and Joseph Ellerine will be taking over. Their best result of the season so far was an 8th place at the Nürburgring, so things remain as they are now. It would be a best ever result for them. The pit window is open. Nobody has blinked yet. You can all see from the graphic, we've lost 4 cars. The 66, Tim Reiter, 4 Storm Yerdrum, 12 Joel Mesh, and 17 Marek Buchmann. Everybody else, 18 cars out on track. Nobody pitting yet. They're coming past the pit entrance. A lot of drivers leaving it late. Right, Gogolok has peeled off into the pits, as has Linus Harner. So they're the first to blink in the pit stop sequence. I should think Gogolok will be pleased to hand that car over to Hendrik Still. What remains of it. Still a very experienced pilot is going to have to take the remnants of that on board and carry it home for the next 33.5 minutes. The brake dust comes steaming out of the front of the car. Here comes Hendrik Still. At the moment, Gogolok is saying, sorry about the wheels, mate. I tried to keep it clean. So here's Hendrik Still. Now, cleaning off probably debris from the seat. The team are able to have a look, but they can't do much on the car. Very restricted. They can take tyre temperatures. Is there going to be any gaffer tape? Not a lot to gaffer tape up, really. Most of it's out on the pit straight. A lot of damage to the front bumper, and not really Gogolok's fault. And there is a car retiring. That is Felder-Feldegg. So Roman Felder-Feldegg, the 19 car, was in 13th place. It means that Hugo Sasser is going to have another race. He's going to have to sit out because the Pro Sport Aston Martin has gone no further. So an altogether horrible day for Christopher Esser's team. Pro Sport Racing, great to have them here in GT4 Germany again this year, but both of their cars are out. Tommy Rackle now getting behind the wheel of the number 77 ME Motorsport BMW to take over from Linus Harner. Everybody else out, so it's just Henrik Still, Philip Gogolok doing the swap, Linus Harner, Tommy Rackle doing the swap at the moment. So how early, how late are people going to leave it? They're sweeping into the pits, the Wimmer Werk Motorsport car of... which one is it? The car that's ducking into the pits at the moment was Oscar Dix, wasn't it? So Oscar Dix peeling off into the pits. He has done his work for this weekend, handing over to Igor Litvinenko, driver who was racing in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany as a guest last year and was very useful indeed. And there is Igor running to the car. There is Oscar Dix. And he'll be on a plane back to East Sussex before it gets dark, I should think. Right, here comes the number 40 car. Lawrence Rule coming into the pits as well. He's handing over to Damon Suzishin. I called him a gentleman driver yesterday. I'm so sorry. What I meant to say is the Pro-Am partnership. Deary me, I'm going to get some stick for that. The 40 car in the Razzoon more than racing car. Damon, the YouTuber, going pro, TV celebrity, you name it, comes all the way from Canada to entertain us here in Austria and Germany. Great to have him back in ADAC GT4 Germany. Promise I'll never call you a gentleman driver ever again. So he will get behind the wheel and will bring that BMW, hopefully, home to the end of the race. At the moment, that car that he's getting behind is under investigation for crossing a white line on pit entry. So Damon Suzishin might yet be taking some pain from his co-pilots. We'll see how that one shakes out. You can see the minimum pit stop time clock ticking down. The driver, the incoming driver, will want to hit the pit exit line when the clock strikes 0, but must not get there before then. And if he does, it'll be a penalty. So 4/10 over for Litvinenko. A little bit of room there, just a little bit of tolerance. I'd say that's a pretty solid job. Suzishin's clock is ticking down. Out of the pits comes Litvinenko to rejoin the traffic. Tommy Rackle is out of the pits as well. Suzishin comes out. He's gone over a little bit. More than a little bit, actually. The clock continues to tick away. Right here, 6.4 for Suzishin. So he's lost 6.4 seconds to the cars around him as a result of that. And here is Julien Potelot in the slightly unloved Mercedes from this year, although they do look to be now getting a handle on whatever was wrong with it. Alex Connor gets out. And this is Nicholas Gebhardt. Didn't see much of him yesterday. Here, making his debut this weekend. Jumps behind the wheel of the Razzoon More Than Racing Porsche. He's appeared in the ADAC Race Weekend GT4 Sprint. Know very little about him. Quite a famous surname. He jumps into the number 20 car, replacing Daniel Drexel. Daniel, who was hosting the DTM Safari on Friday, where they have a load of coaches out on the track during a DTM session. The DTM cars get nice and close to the coaches, entertain the spectators, and I believe that Mike David Orman and Daniel Drexel were doing the commentary for that. Right, here's JMO Hertling from 4th place into the pits. So, championship leader here. He comes. Enrico Ferderer will be limbering up in the wings, so already loosening the belts. Bad news for Piana. None of the cars ahead of him are making an early stop, so he's having to wait to try and gain some track position here. But Hertling, the first of the real front runners into the pits. We've still got Oscar Christensen, Alon Gabay, Rafael Renhofer, Benjamin Silvesterson, the first 4 all out at the moment. Andreas Jochimsen shuffles up to 5th, but will still have to come in. Damon Suzishin has received a penalty lap for crossing the white line on pit entry. So that's a little welcome gift from Lawrence Rule, I should think. So he's going to have to pass through the penalty box. He's in 17th at the moment, so it's probably not going to affect too much as we see the swap of the driver chains. Enrico Federer, JMO Hertling. Looks like Axel Bengston and Tobias Bieler-Clausen also going to be making their change. There they are as well in the number 18 car, BWT Motorsport. So Tobias Bieler-Clausen jumping behind the wheel of that car, and Axel Bengston's work is done for the day. It's all very peaceful in the pits with these minimum pit stop times. Meanwhile, a replay from the perspective of Luka Link, getting down and dirty with it, pulling alongside Igor Livanenko, and a bit of additional sponsorship from Pirelli there, just dispatches that across the fence. So no dramas too much there, but Luka Link still yet to come in 6th place at the moment. Right, who else is coming in? So the lead four stay out at the moment. Right, Link is coming in. Lewis Moser getting ready to take the wheel of Razzoon More Than Racing BMW. Razzoon, quite unusually for the team, sporting 2 different brands of car in this. So they've got Porsches and they've got BMWs. Quite the work cut out. Lots of spare parts required at that team. So this is Luka Link. In he comes. Hits the marks. So engine off. So doesn't need to go too mental getting in and out of the car. Out he gets. He'll take a seat insert. No, he won't. Damon Suzishin clearly has a similar shaped posterior to him, so he's able to sit in the same seat. Right, that is probably part of one of those billboards. I think it is that we saw Luka Link, so he dispatched most of it, and now he's dispatched the rest of it. Good job there. Pirelli getting some additional advertising. That's a Pirelli board, by the way. A minute and 20 seconds left of the pit window. Still got a lot of cars yet to come in. Right, Piana has decided to get it done and dusted. So Berke Besler is the next one to jump into behind the seat of car 21. Denny Burnt and Max Rozam are going to do the switch. We've already seen that Lewis Moser taking over from Luka Link. Everybody else is going to have to come in on this lap. They cannot miss the window. So in comes the race leader, Oscar Christensen. Lachlan Robinson will be relishing the opportunity to possibly take a first ever win in ADAC GT4 Germany. Alon Gabay also there. Tommy Gore will be ready. Jamaica to the world as Tommy Gore gets ready to get behind the wheel of car number 30. Rafael Renhofer, his home race done and dusted. It'll be the Norwegian Emil Heyerdahl that will be ready to jump behind the wheel of car 92. Benjamin Sylvesterson, 10 out of 10. Solid job there for the Finnish driver. It'll be South African driver Joseph Ellerine that will take over the number 23 car. Andreas Jochumsen in as well to hand over to Niels Truger. So lots of action in the pit lane. Also there, the 32 car. So Luciana Schneider handing over to Maxi Schreier. But this is critical. This is going to be for the race lead. We're on board at the moment with Enrico Federer. So Enrico Federer, the leading stopper, is currently running out of the back part of the circuit towards turn 6, if I'm correct, at the moment. So how is the 31 going to emerge with Lachlan Robinson at the wheel? Remember, cannot get to the pit exit line before the clock strikes 0, so has to sit there and wait. It must be just so frustrating because you know the clock is ticking down, but now Robinson is moving. He's into the pit lane. Federer is around at turn 9 at the moment, so coming up towards turn 10. So we'll see him coming round the corner any second now. Pushing as hard as he can, keeping it within track limits on the left-hand side. Lachlan Robinson at the wheel of car 31 is going to emerge out onto the track. The tyres would have cooled a little, but there should still be plenty of heat with which to defend. Right, second place is going to be Tommy Gore at the moment. Emil Heyerdahl in 3rd. So Enrico Federer in 4th place. Is he going to make a jump on the Emil Heyerdahl car? Remember, Heyerdahl has not, he's only just got into the seat of the car. He's not up to speed himself. The car's cooled down slightly, so this could be the opportunity for Enrico Federer, but he cannot throw it all away. away. He ducks to the inside of the OnlyFans car, and Enrico Federer is a big fan of car 92 as he makes his way past and into that third place. Now, has Heyerdahl got anything to come back for the last of the podium positions into turn 4? He will be aware that Enrico Federer has got a championship to think of. Emil Heyerdahl, along with his co-driver Rafael Renhofer, are in the hunt. They're 33 points back coming into this race, but they've got a lot less to lose in the grand scale of things, so maybe more willing to take a risk. At the moment, advantage Federer, disadvantage Emil Heyerdahl. So with pit stops done and dusted, we've had no red P's. That is good news for all. So everybody has kept it above the minimum pit stop time. It is Lachlan Robinson who leads from Tommy Gore, still looking for that first win as well. Both of these drivers looking for their first win. Championship leader Enrico Federer in third place, Emil Heyerdahl in fourth, Joseph Ellerine in fifth, Henrik Still in what remains of the #1 car in sixth, Niels Truger in seventh, then Maxi Schreier in 8th, ahead of Lewis Moser in 9th. Tommy Rackle in 10th place. That's frustrating for him because Tommy Rackle, Linus Hana, they're going to keep themselves in the championship hunt potentially if things finish as they are. I need to sit down and do some calculations, but very, very nearly been bumped out of the championship hunt, Tommy Rackle and Linus Hana. So this is the battle for second place. Enrico Federer really getting to grips with that Mercedes and now bearing down on Tommy Gore. Tommy Gore, remember, he and Alok Gabe actually saw what it was like to stand on a GT4 Germany podium yesterday. Experienced the champagne. They didn't get a hat last time out because they didn't stand on the podium, even though they got the podium position. They did yesterday, though. They want another one to take home with them, but at the moment, Enrico Federer wants to relegate them down. It would still be a podium position, but Emil Heyerdahl in the background also looking dangerous. So Tommy Gore will be focusing on ahead, trying not to be distracted. Right, well, this saves me a bit of work. Federer and Hertling, thank you to our amazing graphics crew. Gabriel Piano would be 22 points back if the race finished now. Gorlock is still 35 back. Renhofer and Heyerdahl, 36 points back if the race finished now. There would be 50 points remaining after today, just the 2 races at the Hockenheim Ring. So that is the points prediction if things finish now. But we have just under 21 minutes plus the 1 lap remaining of this race 10 of a 12-race season, and anything can happen and probably will, especially here at the Red Bull Ring, where exciting racing is always the order of the day. Second place Tommy Gore under pressure from championship leader Enrico Federer. How much of a risk is Federer prepared to take for those additional points to move up to second place? Further back, the 32 car of Maxi Schreier shuffles Niels Truger down the order. So Maxi Schreier up to 7th place in the 32 car. And if things finish as they are now, that would be his best score, along with Luciana Schneider in ADAC GT4 Germany. Their best so far was a 10th place, and that was yesterday. So clearly they are loving the Red Bull Ring. And the Porsche is certainly the weapon of choice here today, with Porsche's first and second, Federer third in the Mercedes, and then another Porsche in fourth. So certainly a car that appears to be dialed in at this high altitude. There is the 77 car of Tommy Rackle, down in 10th place at the moment. And if things finish as they are, effectively, it's really going to end their championship challenge, he and Linus Hana. Here comes Lachlan Robinson across the line. Look at the gap between first and second, 5.9 seconds. That really is a proper cushion between first and second. No such luxury for Tommy Gore. He's got Enrico Federer up his trumpet by 0.349, 3.5 tenths of a second. Henrik Still has found a route past Joseph Ellerine, so improving their championship standings as well. So Ellerine being relegated down to 6th place by Henrik Still. Henrik, who has been part of the fixtures and fittings here in ADAC GT4 Germany for the last few years. always so good to see him and Philip Goglock on a podium. They always celebrate it like they've won a championship. Really means such a lot to them. And some useful points as we look down at turn 4. You can see how Lake Federer is leaving the braking. How much of a risk is Enrico Federer prepared to take to get those extra points for second place? We're about to find out. Second place, Tommy Gore, with all the pressure as it is at the moment. Gore in second place will get 20 points. It would be 16 points for third place, so it would be an uplift of 4 points in the championship if Federer can get past Tommy Gore. Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen not in the championship hunt. They just looking for trophies, and very nice trophies there are too. Tommy Gore and Alain Gabet, they're also not in the championship hunt, no longer mathematically able to win it, so they too are wanting to take home a golden bull. Federer and Hertling leading the championship. Fourth place, Emil Heyerdahl and Rafa Renhofer. They are fourth in the championship, so still in the hunt. So they too will want to get as many points as possible. Fifth place, Henrik Still, Philip Goglock, also very much in the hunt. And that was a Razzoon car going off at a very unusual angle on that slow-mo. That is a brave photographer taking some of the wonderful shots that we have here from the Red Bull Ring. Lots of debris on the track. We've seen a fair bit of contact. Always a little bit lively here at the Red Bull Ring when ADAC GT4 Germany comes here. I've mentioned not too much about track limits, but we've got a penalty lap that's been awarded actually for blocking at the pit exit, and that is to car 10. So Max Rosam has been adjudged to have blocked at the pit exit, and he has been awarded a penalty lap. I think for track limits, I would need a significantly larger timing screen and a lot more time to be able to read them all out to you, because there is a list as long as your arm of car numbers that have all had track limit warnings. Now, as I can see it at the moment, there's nobody who is anyone in a front-running position who has had a warning. Plenty of the cars behind have, but certainly the 1, 2, 3, I can't see any issues there. In fact, neither the 4 and 5. So, track limits though, still an issue. And there is Roman Feldegg, who's just taking in life. Got the best view in the house, but probably would rather one that was on the track. But having retired, Hugo Sasser will no doubt be out of his overalls already, potentially heading back to Germany. Not getting an opportunity to get behind the wheel of the number 19 Pro Sport Racing Aston Martin. Robinson leads, he's opened up the gap, 6.5 seconds. So the first win for Tommy Gore and Alain Gabet is very much in the lap of the gods, because he would need something to befall the sister car in the lead, and he'd need Enrico Federer to go and do something else as we ride on board with Lewis Moser into turn 3. So Moser and Rackle has found a route past Moser. Such a quick driver, Tommy Rackle, along with Linus Harner, have been real entertainers this year, racing for Marcus Eicheller's ADAC Motorsport team. Marcus, of course, who we saw on the grid as a driver, and has been for the last couple of years in ADAC GT4 Germany, has reluctantly handed the steering wheel over to younger drivers. He says it hurts a little, I'm no longer behind the wheel myself. But he will be getting a real buzz out of his drivers who have been doing so well. Of course, he's lost one of his cars, which was the Tim Reiter car. But the other one in 9th place now with Tommy Rackle at the wheel. So if the race finished now, Enrico Federer, Jamo Hertling, 3rd place. That would give them 16 points. Piana and Besler. So having a very subdued time now in 12th place. So that is not what they needed for the championship. Goglock and Still in 5th place. Heyerdahl and Renhofer in 4th place. You can tell I'm doing the maths, can't you? So the gaps would open up. There would be just, by my reckoning, 4 pairings left in the championship, as Besler is looking to be relegated a little bit further. Alex Connor, great to have him back on the grid of ADAC GT4 Germany. But Alex Connor now alongside second in the championship. Berke Besler along the very fast turn 2 up towards turn 3. I'm going to have to redo my calculations now. So Besler has the inside line. He's holding on to that position at the moment. 12th place, Connor switches back to the inside. Unlucky 13 for Berke Besler because Connor's got his nose in front unless Besler can come back in the BMW into turn 4. So it's 12th place to Connor at the moment. Under braking into turn 4. Connor's going to leave as late as he dare on the brakes. Hits the apex beautifully with the Mercedes and shuffles the 21 car down to 13th. So that's another point lost there. So if things finish as they are now, the championship leaders would be Förderer and Hertling. They would be 22 points clear of Piana and Besler, 32 points clear of Gogelok and Still, and 38 points clear of Renhofer and Heyerdahl. It means that Max Rosam, Denny Berndt, Linus Harner and Tommy Rackel would drop out of the championship hunt if things remain as they are now. But we still got 12 and a half minutes remaining. Car 8 and 21 have been instructed to change positions. So the race directors have got involved and decided that the overtaking maneuver was incorrect and have asked them to correct that situation. So Alex Connor has got to give that place back to Berke Besler. So it'll be unlucky 13 for Alex Connor. 12 minutes remaining. Lachlan Robinson has opened up the gap to 6.7 seconds from Tommy Gore. Enrico Förderer, 0.6 of a second behind. In the background of your picture on turn 2, you can see the swap has taken place. Besler moves back in front and Connor's going to have to do it all again. He's had a dress rehearsal. And towards turn 4 we come. In front of that particular queue that's just gone out of picture was Hendrik Still, then Maxi Schreier, Tommy Rackel there, with Niels Tröger, Lewis Moser, Joseph Ellerin, Igor Litvinenko. Then this battle here, Berke Besler ahead of Alex Connor. Behind them, Max Rosam in the number 10 car. Max Rosam, who took a win along with Denny Berndt at the Sachsenring last time out. That'll feel like a bit of a distant memory while he's in that 14th place. So Alex Connor has got all that work to do again to try and get past Berke Besler. But it's for minor points. Connor certainly not in the championship hunt at all. Besler is most certainly is the nearest challenger to Enrico Förderer and J-Mo Hertling. You see how hard Besler is pushing, hustling that BMW out of turn 10. Out along the pit straight and up towards turn 1 once again. 10.5 minutes remaining. So Lachlan Robinson has almost 7 seconds clear of Tommy Gore. Next time they cross the line, that may well be the case. Big good haul of points and another trophy going back to Jamaica and Israel respectively. If the number 30 car can finish in 2nd place, and a good haul of points for the championship leaders, Enrico Förderer and J-Mo Hertling, if they can finish in 3rd place. It's not wins that always win championships, it's consistency. And had it not been for a Sachsenring, Förderer and J-Mo Hertling would be even further ahead in the points. They've been so consistent. They had 4 wins out of 4 in the opening 4 races of the season. Looked like they were going to have the championship sewn up by about August. But for a really difficult weekend at the Sachsenring, where the points were really thinly spread. So Berke Besler holding on to that 12th place. It would be points, but it's not what they had in mind. He and Gabriele Piana. Piana, who had that great start as the car behind them of Max Rosam just picks up a bit of dirt. They had a great start in the FK Performance Motorsport BMW, and then the wide line into turn 1. The stewards decided it was too wide and gave them a penalty lap. It relegated Gabriele Piana down the order. He went backwards from there and then had to fight his way back. Berke Besler took over the wheel of that car and now in 12th place. Hendrik still with the very damaged ADAC Motorsport Porsche in 5th place. Maxi Schreier looking for his best ever finish in ADAC GT4 Germany. So Maxi Schreier in the number 32 car. This is just the 10th race for Maxi Schreier in this race. It's the 58th race for Hendrik still. That's a nice bit of drifting there. Not the quickest way around the corner for Joseph Ellerine. May have just opened up a gap for Igor Litvinenko. Litvinenko didn't get past, or did he? It's a nice bit of drifting there. Litvinenko certainly have pulled alongside. And has he made it? Yes, he has made it past. So, and now that has been followed up. Joseph Ellerine losing it completely in a cloud of blue smoke. The fuel filler has opened. Ellerine gets it going again. And out he goes. Fuel filler closes. This is not the time for refueling. That's not allowed in GT4 Germany. So let's have a look again, and look like it was fairly unaided. I think the rears on that number 23 BMW are maybe starting to get a little bit thin, because we'd seen that wild ride out of turn 1. And there, another wild ride. The clouds of blue smoke mixed with brake dust rising up into the air, and he's able to rejoin, but clearly a little bit further down the order. So I was about to mention, Hendrik Still, he's on his 58th race in ADAC GT4 Germany, and he's currently been tracked down by a driver in his 10th race. So this note that we mentioned that Gabriele Piana continues his record of having started every single ADAC GT4 Germany race that there has ever been. This was his 82nd. There have been 82 races in this wonderful series, and the 2021 champion has started in every single one of them. That is a record that cannot be beaten. As we look at the fight for 5th place, time is running out, 6.5 minutes remaining. The track limit warnings continue to come. The latest in this string of track limits warnings is to Tobias Bieler-Klausen. Tobias, great to have him here in ADAC GT4 Germany. He stepped up from the junior ranks, and with BWT Mucker putting him alongside Axel Bengston, 2 young chargers. There's the other of the BWT Mucker Motorsport Mercedes. This time, Alex Connor at the wheel, having taken over from Julien Potelot. You'll remember that Luca Bosco was at the wheel of that car for the first part of the season. Alex Connor's taken it over. Bosco will want to forget this race last year, where he had a sizable accident that saw him spending a night in Vienna that he had not scheduled. And he may well be watching on. There's Alex Connor doing a sterling job in 12th place. That is how hard the Maxi Schreier is pushing to try and catch Hendrik Still. A wild ride, a rear wheel into the gravel. Lachlan Robinson has continued to open up the gap over the battle that you've just seen at the bottom of your screen. 7.5 seconds is the lead over Tommy Gore and Enrico Federer. Emil Heyerdahl is 2.7 seconds back from Federer. Then there's this battle here. Hendrik Still, Maxi Schreier, Tommy Rackle has hauled that BMW from somewhere near the back, along with Linus Harder. They've done a really solid job getting it up into 7th place. Niels Truger is up into 8th place. Lewis Moser into 9th, and Igor Litvinenko in the red and white Wimmerwerk Motorsports Porsche is up into 10th place. Berke Besler, second in the championship, is 11th. And that is a very bad view for Lewis Moser. Now, I don't think that's rain. I think that's something that's come from somebody else's car. I presume it's not like that in front of the driver, because they do have windscreen wipers on these cars. But that is not a great view of the track ahead for Lewis Moser. So the battle continues once again. Connor having to do the work, this time to the inside on turn 10. And that was clean, didn't exceed track limits there. Berke Besler had nothing to defend with and moves down. Alex Connor moves up the position, up towards turn 1. They will come. Less than 4 minutes remaining. This is Igor Litvinenko and Lewis Moser. That view for Lewis Moser, not what we had hoped for when we put a camera in that car. There's a corner up there somewhere, apparently, under braking. Litvinenko, well, he can hit the braking points. He's got a clear view in front of him. So I'm wondering whether it's mist and just the general damp in the air, and there's no windscreen wipers working on the Razoon X-Automotive Racing BMW, giving it its correct title. Of course, Razoon, who are situated close to here at the Red Bull Ring, their home race, and not getting a great view from the onboard camera. So Litvinenko shuffles up that position. So that is for 10th place. Make that 9th. It'll refresh when they cross the timing beam next. Right now it's refreshed, so 9th for Litvinenko, Moser in 10th. Less than 3 minutes remaining. The lead gap, 8.3 seconds. A thoroughly dominant performance from Lachlan Robinson at the moment, along with Oscar Christensen at the front of this field. Their best results up until now had been a couple of third places. What a way to beat that. It was at the Norris Ring and the Saxon Ring this year that they took those 2 third places. They fancy jumping the second step completely and getting to the top. They just need to hold on for another 2.25 minutes plus the 1 lap. The Alex Connor, Berke Besler match race has been continuing all race long and continues again. Besler now trying to come back at Alex Connor into turn 2. Flat out Besler, who is coached by Gabriella Piana. Connor, the British driver, on the inside, under braking. Out of turn 3 he comes, and out towards turn 4. It looks like Berke Besler is really going to need to try and force Alex Connor into a mistake if he wants to get past. There, Igor Litvinenko in 9th place, having made his way past Lewis Moser a lap or so ago. Less than 90 seconds of the race remaining. So the leader has just crossed the start-finish line, so it's going to be a couple of laps left of this race. The gap, 8.2 seconds. So Lachlan Robinson well in control of this race. Tommy Gore in second, championship leader. Enrico Ferder, along with Jamo Hertling, are going to extend that championship lead because Gabriella Piana, Berke Besler, their closest challengers, are all the way down in 12th place at the moment. Alex Connor with a bit of a wobble on out of turn 9. These tyres that have been running for nearly an hour on these cars are all starting to get a little bit tired. Out along the pit straight to come once again. Besler seems to have a second win. He ducks to the inside, he ducks to the outside. Into turn 1, Connor has him covered off here, but he's going to pick up a slipstream on the exit of turn 1 as they head flat out along turn 2 and up the hill towards turn 3. So it's Besler going to try and make a Connor-like challenge on Connor. Around 2 they come, he's got the inside line, that'll be the outside. Into turn 3, up the hill, under braking. Besler going to try and go the long way round. Connor says, nope, you're not coming through, mate. Slams the door in his face, but now they've got the run down to turn 4, the right-hander. Besler, is he going to try again on the outside? Is he going to sell the dummy? Is he just going to stick behind? The clock strikes 0, so we've got about a lap and a quarter left of this race into turn 4. Connor has it covered off. Berke Besler tucks him behind in towards turn 5. Meanwhile, our race leader, Lachlan Robinson, is about to start his final lap of the race. So into turn 1 will come our race leader. But we're looking at this because this is significant for the championship. Valuable points on the table here. Berke Besler does not want a non-finish, but he would love to get past Alex Connor. Connor is not interested in points. He just wants to finish as high up as he possibly can for himself and Julien Potela. Look at Besler, ducks to the right-hand side, then back in line as they head into turn 9 once again, and then around to turn 10. Meanwhile, our race leader has just exited turn 3 for the very last time and is heading down to that tricky turn 4 for the very last time. The final lap board is shown to all the drivers. Car 11, Enrico Federer, has been given a warning for track limits, but at this part of the race, I think he should be reasonably secure, unless he does something really dramatic in the last few moments of this race. So, this fight will continue all the way to the line. Alex Connor in 11th, Berke Besler in 12th place. And they're just up ahead of them, Lewis Moser in 10th place as well. And Besler thinks that if he could get past both of those, that would be a real points haul increase. Never mind about that, because at the front, Lachlan Robinson is on the last couple of corners. He's into turn 10. He and Oscar Christensen have not set a foot wrong. It's a first ever win for Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen in ADAC GT4 Germany. It's another podium for Tommy Gore and Alain Gabet. It's a points haul for the championship leaders, Enrico Federer and Jamo Hurtling. Emil Heyerdahl, Rafael Renhofer in 4th place. Then this battle here to the line for 5th place goes the way of Henrik Still and Philip Gogolok. A best ever finish also for Maxi Schreier and Luciana Schneider. And then the battles that we have been watching, Tommy Rackle coming back for 7th place ahead of Niels Troger. Igor Litvinenko in 9th place. The visually impaired Lewis Moser cars dropped down to 12th place because Alex Connor and Berke Besler have got past the number 70 car. So Besler picking up just the scraps of points in the closing stages of the race. And here come the rest of the cars across the line. Next will be Joseph Ellerine, Tobias Clausen just ahead of him. And then it's Gebhardt in car 20, Nicholas Gebhardt, and Damon Sazishin, the Pro-Am driver, in 17th place. He, along with Lawrence Rule, doing a really solid job. But the headline today from the Red Bull Ring, Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen are winners in ADAC GT4 Germany. So the celebration starts in the garage for the teams. A good, solid job, and of course, back-to-back wins for Avia WNS Motorsport, back-to-back 1-2s, because of course, Tommy Gore and Alain Gabet having that 2nd place yesterday as well. I'm just having a look at the points situation. So Piana and Besler eventually coming home in 11th place. It means the gap is 20 points between 1st and 2nd. The results up on your screen at the moment, always subject to confirmation, particularly with the number of track limit warnings that we had. But that is your first to 8. Certainly Lachlan Robinson, Oliver Christensen, Tommy Gore, Alain Gabet, Enrico Federer, Jamo Hurtling. I don't think there's any issues there with any of the first 5 or 6 cars, and there is the rest just scrolling through your screen as well. I'm sat here just checking the calculations as best I can on the points, and it certainly looks like it is now a 4-horse race for the title, because that finish, as solid as it was for Tommy Rack and Linus Hahner, puts them 69 points adrift with 50 points remaining. Also, Max Rosam and Denny Berndt are shuffled out of the championship challenge. By my calculations, and what if our graphics guys are going to confirm this, Federer and Hurtling lead Piana and Besler by 20 points. Gogolok and Still are 32 points back. And Rafael Renhofer, Emil Heyerdahl still in the hunt, 38 points back. But Enrico Federer, Jamo Hurtling must now be starting to think about championships, because just 2 races remaining. But more of that next time at the Hockenheim Ring, because the glory today goes to Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen. And if you were listening to our broadcast yesterday with Mike David Ortman helping me with the commentary, he will tell you that the trophies you receive here at the Red Bull Ring are the best trophies of the year. It's one that they really treasure, and the Golden Bull trophies that are awarded to all the podium finishers are really something spectacular. And Tommy Gore and Alain Gabet are taking 2 each home with them, 1 under each arm. Send 1 this way. So that is a great job from them. Jamaica once again in the headlines. There's Philip Gogolok just ready to congratulate the race winners, of course, in the sister car. Says, well done, Lachlan Robinson. Top job. And they're the championship leaders. 3rd place. Right, 20, 34, 36. Well, close. I would trust what you see on screen more than you'd trust mine. Certainly 20 points between 1st and 2nd, and that's the really significant one. J-Mo Hertling and Enrico Ferderer very much in control of this championship with just 2 races remaining. There will be delighted. The guy with the camera you just saw on the right side of your picture is Vinny, and he is very much involved in the management and the direction of Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen, and he will have a very big smile on his face as well. What a very tight schedule here this weekend, part of the DTM weekend, and with GT Masters, DTM of course, Prototype Cup Germany, Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany on the bill as well. We need to get them on the podium as quickly as possible. We need Ferderer and Hertling up there in the SR Motorsport by Schnitzland Mercedes as quickly as possible. But what a dominant weekend we've had from ADAC Motorsport. It's the second of the weekend for Tommy Gore and Alain Gabet. But the 31 car is going to be the car that earns the top of the podium, eclipsing their 2 third places earlier in the season. Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen take their first ever win in ADAC GT4 Germany. And the celebrations from Oscar Christensen will no doubt be rattling on into the night. Maybe a couple of Sunday morning drinks will be had. Right, so there we go. There are the driver classifications, all subject to confirmation once all the various stewards' inquiries have been done. I don't think any issues between the 1st and 2nd, that's for sure. 20 points in it, with 50 points on the table. Gogolok still, Renhoffen, Heyerdahl certainly within reach, but now relying on bad luck falling the way of Ferderer and Hertling. Just solid finishes at the Hockenheim Ring for the season closer at the beginning of October, and it would be a first championship for those 2 drivers. Of course, Gabriele Piana looking for a 2nd championship. You can see these are the cars that are no longer in the running with 50 points available. Roseanne and Berndt, Rackle and Hana, Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen, despite that win today. That is for the trophies. Now we look towards the podium. And in just a few moments, we will hopefully see the drivers coming out to receive those wonderful Red Bull trophies. The Schumacher champagne, provided by Ralf Schumacher, his company that provides wonderful wine and champagne. So there's your third place finishers. They don't look overly delighted. They really, today, this weekend, have put one hand firmly on the championship trophy. Always looking delighted. Jamaica to the world, Tommy Gore, Alain Gabet from Israel. What a combination these 2 have proved to be. But the first ever win for Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen. ADAC Motorsport will have yet another trophy to put in their cabinet. Boy, do they know how to prepare a car. Their cars, of course, they won the championship with it last year. So we see Luciana Schneider, Maxi Schreier looking on as well in the same team. There's Damon Suzushin, along with Lawrence Rule, who are the Pro-Am pairing. Got it right this time. It's national anthem time. It's pretty noisy around here. It was Porsches 1 and 2. There's a whole trackload of very noisy GT3 Porsches that have just lined up because we've got Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany coming in a bit. And they are deafening as the winners' trophies are awarded. Trophies that Lachlan Robinson and Oscar Christensen will cherish and remember for many years to come. The first win in GT4 Germany. Another trophy for Tommy Gore and Alon Gabay. What a weekend they've had. I should think that Tommy Gore's dad, Doug Hollywood Gore, a bit of a legend himself, will be shouting on at the TV set from Jamaica. And the championship now on the horizon for Enrico Federer and J-Mo Hertling. And potentially, championship hunt once again, the defending champions in the teams, ADAC MX Motorsport and Damon Sazishin, along with Lewis Moser, will take, Lawrence Rule, getting mixed up, will take a trophy home in the Pro-Am pairing as well. So everybody squeezes up for a photograph. And then the celebrations will commence. This is like the calm before the storm. Look after those trophies. They're delicate, they're gorgeous. We'll see you next time for round 6. GT4 Germany will be at Hockenheim, the 3rd to the 5th of October. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.